morning, everybody. All right, first of all, I want to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for spending your day with us to memorialize those that fell in the line of duty. We thank all of you for being out here, spending your time with us. At this time, please remove your caps. We'll play the national anthem. Please face, we have plenty of flags here. I want to introduce the band, the high school band, who will be playing the national anthem this morning. I'd like to bring up Mr. Litchfield, who is our VFW chaplain, to say the invocation.
Gracious God, on this Memorial Day weekend, we remember and give thanks for those who have given their lives in service of our country. When the need was greatest, they stepped forward and did their duty to defend the freedoms that we enjoy and to win the same for others. O God, you yourself have taught us that no love is greater than that which gives itself for another. These honored dead gave the most precious gift they had, life itself, for loved ones and neighbors, for comrades and country, and for us. Help us to honor their memory by caring for the family members they have left behind, by ensuring that their wounded comrades are properly cared for, by being watchful caretakers of the freedoms for which they gave their lives, and be demanding that no other young men and women follow them to a soldier's grave unless the reason is worthy and the cause is just. Holy One, help us to remember that freedom is not free. There are times when its cost is indeed dear. Never let us forget those who paid so terrible a price to ensure that freedom would be our legacy. Though their names may fade with the passing of generations, may we never forget what they have done. Help us to be worthy of their sacrifice. God bless America.
Just want to give a little bit of history behind Memorial Day. 3 years after the Civil War ended, on May 5th, 1868, the head of the Organization of Union Veterans, the Grand Army of the Republic, or GAR, established Decoration Day as a time for the nation to decorate the graves of the war dead with flowers. Major General John A. Logan declared that Decoration Day should be observed on May 30th. It is believed that that date was chosen because flowers would be in bloom all over the country. In 1966, Congress and President Lyndon Johnson declared Waterloo, New York, the birthplace of Memorial Day. Their ceremony on May 5th, 1966, honored local veterans who had fought in the Civil War. It was not until after World War I, however, that the day was expanded to honor those who have died in all American wars. In 1971, Memorial Day was declared a national holiday by an act of Congress. Though it is still often called Decoration Day, it was then also placed on the last day of May. Though Decoration Day is a common word or verbiage, we know it as Memorial Day to this day. At this point in time, I'd like to introduce Senator Ryan Fatman to say a few words. We appreciate him coming down here, spending his time. I know he's a busy man. Both him and Representative Durant are probably going to multiple Memorial Day ceremonies today. So I'd like to Senator Fatman to come up here and say a few words, please.
Thank you, Dave, and good morning, everyone. It's my honor to be here as a state senator for the town of Southbridge. And thank you to all those who serve our nation and our communities. It is greatly appreciated. We hold these truths to be self-evident. We, the people, in order to form a more perfect nation. These are words that encapsulate our nation, our society, and they speak to a truth. In order to form a more perfect union, we've learned in the last year that there's a lot of imperfection in our society. But what has made the United States of America stand out amongst all societies is that striving for perfection, the goodness of our people. Now, not too long ago, back in January, I reached out to my brother. My brother is an Army aviator. He flies UH-60 Blackhawks. I was having a very difficult time in the moment, and I said, Anthony, you know, I really want to sit down and talk to you. And I was finding him to be very elusive, hard to get in contact with. He was spending that month training, and what I would learn when I sat down with him was that he was dealing with the imperfection of his own training. He had been cited for multiple failures in his aviation program. They expect perfection, not just excellence, when you fly one of these $60 million vehicles. They expect absolute perfection. And what he told me was that he had made several mistakes. One, he showed up a little bit late to his training. He parked on the side in his parking spot and parked on the grass. The military police cited him for that. Two, he was flying a little bit too long with his flight instructor. He was late for a dentist appointment on base. He got cited for that. Three, he failed to wear his reflector gear for physical training in the morning, and he got cited for that. And soon later, all these imperfections added up that he was in front of his commanding officer, a young man, 29 years old, named Christian Coe. And Christian said to him, "Fat man, what are you doing? You're screwing up, and you got to get better. And I'm going to give you one more chance. No more mistakes, because you make a mistake in the air, it's a difference between life and death." The next week, that young man, Christian Coe, was in the air with my brother about 100 miles away in New York. He was flying a Black Hawk helicopter. He, Chief Warrant Officer Dan Pryl, and Chief Warrant Officer Skoda crashed in a field in New York and lost their lives. The transmission had failed, and someone had made a mistake before the operations and before they had taken off, and failed to look at the transmission. It was the difference of a matter of life and death. And my brother said to me, "That's why I didn't get in contact with you, because I've been dealing with my own imperfections and how somebody forgave me for them and allowed me to continue my service, and yet now he's dead." That young man had 29 years of life, 4 children, a wife, that when he flew in the air, they expected him to come home, and yet he did not. Chief Warrant Officer Skoda, 54 years old, flew in Afghanistan, Iraq, Vietnam, Iraq twice, had a family of his own, didn't come home. And Chief Warrant Officer Pryl, 2 weeks prior, serving in the New York State Police, had flown a mission to save 2 young people who fell into a river, saving their lives. A family of his own, expecting him to come home, crash in a field. This is what this day is about. Not just those who serve, but those who have lost their lives in service to our nation, whether it be in a battlefield or a training field. If we look to the answer as to why for so many years we have achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth, it was because of men and women who have always been willing to pay that ultimate price, their lives, despite our imperfections. Yeah, we've been told over the years, the United States is not a perfect nation, but it is a good nation that is made up of good people. And as long as we continue to be good, served by those who are willing to take all and do all to preserve our liberty, we will continue to be great. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you for coming out today.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate your words, and I know a lot of veterans here completely understand where your brother's going, and sorry for the loss. Next, I'd like to introduce Representative Durant. He's always a staple right here at the Gold Star Mother Monument, and this year is no different. So I'd like to introduce Representative Durant for a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you to the Veterans Council and all the members that are here today. President Abraham Lincoln said it best at the Gettysburg Address when he said, "It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion, that we are here highly resolved that these dead shall not have died in vain." And while Lincoln's words were intended for a war-weary nation ripped apart by a civil war, those words transcend time. As we gather today in the ceremonies across our nation for the first time in over a year, it is perhaps most important that we renew our commitment to Lincoln's call. While we may feel the pain and anguish of the last year, these words of Lincoln remind us about the real meaning of the word sacrifice. Let us remember that the underlying sense of purpose of our great nation has as we debate the decisions we must make. Let us remember those who have gone before us faced no easy choices, but that they faced their decisions with a profound sense of the moment and with the certain knowledge that their actions and inactions had consequences. Our communities, our Commonwealth, and our country face tremendous, even daunting, economic, social, and political challenges of far greater consequence and impact than usual. Regardless of your political philosophy or persuasion, we share an abiding obligation to remember that their sacrifice by far more words than by deeds. Indeed, we need to draw on their sacrifice, their sense of purpose, and their profound sense of the moment to effectively address the challenges we face if we are to fulfill the legacy that they have passed on to us, and we are to fulfill our legacy as a nation. Now, if you listen today to the news and the talk shows, what you'll hear is a lot of what's wrong with America. You can easily get caught up in political divides and disagreements, and they'd have you believe that America's best days are behind us. But don't believe that. We are here today because we are honoring something that is good and right in America. The service and sacrifice of millions that have answered the call for their country to do what is good and what is right. They left their homes, they left their families to create, protect, defend, and preserve a nation that remains still today, after 245 years, to become a beacon and example of freedom and dreams throughout the world. So how do we leave this ceremony today and honor our veterans for their service and sacrifice? Well, the challenge now for each of us is to make their legacy a living mission, to take what is good and right in America, to work together every day to fix what's wrong, and to change what we need to in America and around the world. If we meet this challenge, we will have paid those we honor today the highest tribute, because we will have ensured that they did not die in vain, but rather to protect and advance a cause much greater than themselves. and we will have ensured for them and for the present and future generations that America's best days lie ahead. So as we leave here today, like patriots, we remember and endeavor to be part of what is right in America. On this day, let each of us gathered here, let each of us gathered in this place, that we were highly resolved that those dead shall not have died in vain. God bless you all. God bless America. Thank you.
Again, we thank both Senator Fatman and Representative Durant for coming out here today. Next, within the ceremony itself, we'll be laying the honorary wreaths. After that, the 21-gun salute and the playing of taps by the Southbridge High School band. If you look over to your left, we have Mr. Jim Collars, part of the VFW and Veterans Council. He is laying the wreath for the Italian American Monument. If you look to your right, today, Mr. Mike Trumbulley, who is a Vietnam veteran, part of the Veterans Council, will be laying the wreath at the Vietnam Veterans Monument. And if you look this way, I'm going to ask Senator Fatman, Representative Durant, to lay the wreaths of the Gold Star Mother, those that passed, and the regular wreath that we put at every monument throughout our town. Little history about the wreath laying ceremony. During Roman times, to honor the brave, leaders would lay wreaths throughout the cities, paying honor to loved ones who perished in battle, and commemorating families who carried the burden of their lost one. At this time, I'd like the units that are presenting today to fall out and reassemble up here by the police vehicle. I'd love to have the veterans right here in front so we can walk up together, all veterans and their families. Please join me up here so we can walk together. We're going to head to the honor roll. Thank you. Pretty large crowd compared to last year. And it's honorable that a lot of people are coming out here today with the weather, and that now we're back open for business within the state of Massachusetts. So I want to thank everybody for coming from the Rotary up to here, and the ones that had been standing by for quite some time waiting for us to bring our formations back up here. Before I introduce the speakers, I just want to say again, to all those that came out, thank you for everything. All the volunteers, everybody that's helped put the flags in the cemeteries, those that built the wreaths, put the flags at half-staff for today until noon, put up the tent today to show the Veterans Council initiative. But obviously we're here for one major reason, and that's to pay tribute to those that never came back alive. And it's pretty impressive that town of Southbridge came together today for this event. So thank you. First person I'd like to introduce, we have two speakers today. One's a local businessman, veteran, retired staff sergeant in the United States Army. He served a tour in Iraq in 2003 and 2004 as a surgical medic. He was part of the Army's largest convoy push into Iraq. He's a decorated flight medic, and he recently moved here to Southbridge to start his business here in Southbridge. So I'd like to introduce Staff Sergeant Joseph Stevens. Come up here and say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My fellow members of the Armed Forces, past, present, and the community of Southbridge. My name is Joseph Stevens. I am a veteran of the United States Army. I've served in Baghdad, Iraq as a medic. Today, I was asked to speak to you to tell you what this day means to me. When I began to break down the question, all I could do was think of so many past experiences in my past that impacted my life as a medic in active combat. When soldiers deploy into combat, they deploy with the intentions of serving their great country and returning home to their loved ones, not focusing on the fact that they may not. As a medic, working in the active combat zone, we do our best to save lives. I recall treating hundreds of severely injured soldiers and looking into their eyes, hoping they would be okay, but knowing that they wouldn't. On this day, every year, I reflect on these experiences, remembering their bravery. To me, they were not just faces, they were my comrades. Memorial Day is a day of remembrance, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for fallen soldiers and heroes that did it all for their patriotism, for the love of their country. In closing, I would ask that you all take the time to get to know a soldier directly, indirectly, and thank them for their ultimate sacrifice to our country, for their families, with their lives. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce a young man right here from Southbridge. We haven't done this for quite some time, but we asked that, I think it was on Veterans Day, we asked that a student from Trinity Catholic Academy come out here and speak on Veterans Day. And this year, for Memorial Day, we asked Southbridge High School if they could bring out an individual who would like to speak about Memorial Day. So they picked a pretty good one, I think. Based on his bio, it's pretty impressive what this young man has done so far in his short time here on Earth. His name is Jeremy Peters. He's a Boy Scout. He's formerly a senior patrol leader, and he achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. He is also the class president at Southbridge High School and the valedictorian. Plays on the varsity tennis. He's the captain of the varsity tennis team, the International Thespian Society treasurer, and he's put down here and many more, like ... So it's pretty impressive. Next year he's going to be attending Worcester Polytech Institute with the intention of becoming a mechanical engineer. So I'd like to have Jeremy come up here and say a few words.
All right, so when I first sat down to write this speech, the first question I had was, what does Memorial Day mean? What does it mean truly? So I did the first logical thing. It's the 21st century, and I Googled it. So, according to the Oxford Dictionary, it's a day in which those who died in active military service are remembered. And while it's partially correct, I don't quite feel it captures the whole meaning. As a 17-year-old, I fortunately haven't grown up with and lost someone in duty. I haven't fought or served away from home, so for me, there isn't anything more to remember than what's in a history book. I don't know the loss of losing a loved one in battle or coming home to an empty chair. But I know that for some of you here today, that isn't true. So my heart goes out to you. Today isn't about a war or our country, it's about the people. The men and women that not only fought selflessly for our country, but that gave their lives. So personally, it's a day to honor what they have done and the sacrifices they have made for you and I. I will never truly know everything that they have given, so for that reason, I give all my gratitude, all my respect, and all my appreciation, and certainly all my honor. Perhaps the definition should be more along the lines of a day on which those who died in active military service are honored. Whether you gave honor by remembering them, placing flags, going to Memorial Day services, or even a cookout, I encourage you to take some time today to thank our veterans and honor those that gave everything. To everyone, it means something different. We celebrate and gather today because of the true sacrifices that so many men and women have made. So I encourage everyone, when you go home, enjoy the barbecues, enjoy your families, but take a moment and ask yourself what Memorial Day means to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Again, just like we did at the Gold Star Mothers, the Italian American, and the Vietnam Monument, we'd like to lay a wreath today. And today, Jeremy and Joseph are going to lay the wreath, our guest speakers. I just want to reiterate, there's a young lady, Miss Kathy Greer, who has really helped us out and constantly built these wreaths when we destroy them by accident. We want to again thank her for all her dedication and service to our community with these beautiful wreaths that you will see around this town for the next 3 or 4 days. At this time, like every year, we read the names of those Southbridge residents who are no longer with us, who are veterans. Mr. Roberts, Keith Roberts, will be reading off the names. Mr. Bill Rivernider will be ringing the bell. And we have 2 Boy Scouts who will be laying the poppies on the ground that will lay here for the next 4 days.
Robert W. Julian, United States Marine Corps. Russell C. Smick, United States Army. Ernest J. Ashambo, U.S. Army Air Corps. Henry R. Morin, United States Navy. Leo A. Bielu, U.S. Army. Alan B. Jalbert, U.S. Navy. Joshua L. Jensen, U.S. Army. Robert C. Farron, Army National Guard. George J. Pomprion, U.S. Army. Daniel P. Fiorelli, U.S. Navy. Ronald E. Trudeau Sr., U.S. Navy. David Bousquet, U.S. Army. Harry J. Lazo, U.S. Army. Charles E. Peliquin, U.S. Army. Donald L. LaChapelle, U.S. Air Force. Nikki B. Wood, U.S. Army. Donald R. Gendro, United States Air Force. Leon L. Beausoleil Sr., U.S. Army. Robert G. Mandeville, U.S. Army. Matthew Maggio, United States Marine Corps. Richard M. Harwood, U.S. Navy.
Thank you, Keith. At this time, Police Department will be rendering 21 good salute. Southbridge High School will be playing taps. High school band will be playing the Armed Forces medley right now. Thank you. This concludes today's ceremony. I'd like to thank all those who volunteered this weekend laying flags, again, at our local cemeteries. Those helped and volunteered today, guest speakers, the Boy Scouts, Police Department, Fire Department, the Southbridge High School Band. Thank you so much. And those service members we want to remember who paid the ultimate sacrifice, and this is your day. Please have a safe rest of the Memorial Day weekend, and thank you.